Hello and welcome to Dad's Dad Job podcast. This is your host Adam Leatherbarrow, and this is the original footballing podcast by dads for dads. Guys, how are we getting on? Real good?
Yeah, good. Everyone all right?
Yep. That was almost perfect that time, Ad. Well done.
Hashed it.
Did a pretty good job. I actually laughed when we came on because for whatever reason the screen in Callum's room had gone completely black. So like Callum was sitting in nigh on darkness, and then there was just you and me, and there's this like black rectangle. Oh, there he is! Look at him! Look at him! Beautiful.
I just asked Heather to turn the light on.
Like Genesis 1, that was.
There you go.
So, Rob, do you want to take the lead on this one? Being as you are the, I say we're pretty equal, but you go with it. Go on, you do the introduction for this week.
Yeah, I definitely would not say I am the specialist, but I am definitely a fanboy. It's WrestleMania week. It's wrestling.
You are
week.
a specialist. Why are you waffling?
I'm not a specialist.
You are. You watch it every single week for the last 20 years.
To be fair, that is not true. In recent times, it's been just the main event.
25 years.
And I'm really excited. I've been enjoying it since January because the switch to Netflix has just made things so much more accessible.
So much better. So much better on Netflix, I must admit.
Yeah, but it's WrestleMania week. Literally every bloke of our generation was that, especially of our age bracket anyway, were there at the end of the 90s into the early 2000s when wrestling was at the hottest it's ever been. It went through a little bit of a lull period, and it feels very much so over the last 5 years. Definitely post-COVID, wrestling seems to have come back in this resurgence. It's the first WrestleMania of the Netflix era. There are some incredible fights that are going to be, or some incredible matches, some incredible storylines that are going to come to fruition this week. Our further story is going to be completed. Like, there is so much to be excited about. So we were going to talk about TV shows this week, but given that it is WrestleMania week, we are going to talk about wrestling, the WWE, and all things WrestleMania. So I suppose I've introduced it, but I did mention it a little bit. The late 90s, what was it about wrestling in that time period? And if you can maybe bring it back to, is it finding its niche again in 2025? So what was it like for us in the late 90s to start with?
Yeah, I mean, the late 90s, it was very much the comic book superhero. That was when I started watching it, when I was like really, really young, like your Macho Man and your Razor Ramones and Papa Shango, like all that, like Big Boss Man.
He's been inducted. He's been inducted, isn't he?
He has. Yeah.
It's Thursday, right? Is he being inducted into the Hall of Fame?
I think it's Thursday. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, Papa Shango. I can't remember his real name, but also under the alias of Godfather.
No, that's not Papa Shango, is it?
Yeah, no, you're thinking of Kamala.
Kamala, that's who I meant. Kamala's getting inducted as well. He was proper from left. No, I knew the Godfather was in. Sorry. Yes, I was thinking of Kamala because he's proper left field choice as well. Like it was like a nice one to see.
I think he's a legacy pick, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I think there's 3 others and stuff on there. But for the first time ever in this year's WrestleMania, they're actually inducting matches, Hall of Fame matches. Yeah, I think it's Stone Cold v Bret Hart, which is the ultimate flip WrestleMania moment ever. And I'm predicting that's going to happen this year with Cody and Cena. I'm predicting that. But I will talk about that. We'll talk about that later when we get to current affairs.
Yes, that because that was one of the matches I made a note of actually. But yeah, I think Cal, do you want to talk a little bit about the late 90s? Because I mean, you already spoke last week about us, or the week before about us beating 2 tons of crap out of each other. So
yeah, I mean, it's just that it was targeted at like young male testosterone filled boys who were just, I mean, the stuff that we used to watch then, you just wouldn't get away with even putting on TV now. And you know, yeah, I mean, it's the Attitude Era, isn't it? It was when wrestling was at its peak, when every single night was just carnage, You didn't really know what was going to happen. I don't think they actually knew what was going to happen, to be fair, half the time. I think half the time it was just off the cuff, and it was just blood, gore, and sometimes things that we shouldn't be, that shouldn't have happened, really, which probably would be illegal or, inappropriate now. But I remember being that age and just being like, what? It was almost like everything that you wanted as a young male in one show, in the sense of violence, storylines, I suppose,
Great toy, by the
maybe
way.
even sex, I suppose. They were selling everything, weren't they? They were selling absolutely everything. I just remember watching it going, oh my God, and my fondest memories were sort of, going to bed early, waking up at 12, making our little stupid coffee shots that we used to have. Yeah, and down the coffee shots that we used to make so that we'd stay up.
Story. So what we would do is we would literally put about this much water in there, this much hot water, literally 3 teaspoons of sugar, 3 tablespoons of coffee, mix it as like a tar, and we would neck it to try and stay awake.
Yeah. Yeah, I even was thinking about the other day when we used to, one time you used to get the cup, well, you still get them, the cups of like the sweets that, like you could just literally fill up, and you used to put your fist into the sweets so you get even more and more in.
Yeah.
Having them with ice cream and stuff, but then having it like around our mate's house, like Patrick's house. Remember we did it at Patrick's house once?
Yeah.
That was nuts, mate. Like we did some
you have taken like literal goosebumps to some of the stuff we used to watch, right? So forget like pay-per-views, right? The stuff we used to see, like I can remember the biggest debate, one of the biggest debates of like the playground when we were in secondary school was you knew what kind of girl you were interested in by the girl that you thought was your favorite wrestler. And like half the playground was Trish Stratus and the other half was Lita, right? And you knew what kind of girl you liked based on like one of those two. Like that was like the playground debate. And then I can remember it helped because the kind of the Monday Night Wars thing was so big that it just made everything better, and WWE just in the end just completely took over. And the Invasion storyline itself, you could argue, was a little bit of a flop, but I can just remember that. Cal, do you remember when everyone was like, Stone Cold, you got to help, you got to help, got to help, and then like he was like, I'm not going to help, I'm not going to help, and then he came out and he just stunned everyone. And you and me were just like jumping around, weren't we? We were like kicking and like, oh my God, he stunned everyone. Like,
I mean, even Dad would come down, like Dad would go to bed, and then he'd come down at like 3:30 to watch the main event, and then go back and he'd had work in the morning or whatever, and he'd still come down and watch the main event, or like, what's happened? It's Undertaker still, is he what 20-0 or 30, 15-0 or whatever he was at the time. It was so good.
It was honestly.
I mean, I remember scoring goals in the playground, and depending on who you liked in WWE, it would be your celebration. So, like, I remember doing Scotty 2 Hottie and doing the worm in the playground every time I scored.
Like, or telling everyone to suck it, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, you say that, Cal, because I used to do the Rikishi.
Did you?
Your butt cheeks.
No.
Man.
But yeah, like, I just and do you know what? It engaged everyone. Everyone used to talk about it. I'm going in Monday morning and people going, did you watch it? Did you stay up? Did your parents let you stay up? And it was just
people sneaking downstairs, isn't it?
And how many times did you obviously get a pay-per-view, but then you set the video recorder to be recording at a certain time it started on Sky Sports?
No,
we would stay up and watch it.
And how many times did that TV video player didn't work?
We just stayed up. We didn't. We've been able to work that. I just stayed up, mate. I just stayed up, watched it.
We stayed up and watched it all. Yeah.
Yeah, ridiculous. I mean, yeah, it's so many good memories, isn't there? Like when you talked about the early 90s, but then going into like the late 90s.
I was talking about the late 90s, I think. I was talking about the late 90s, yeah.
But then like Hardy Boys coming in, and then you got the ECW coming into it as well in terms of like Dudley Boys and then Rhino, and then And then WCW boys would come over like Chris Jericho. I mean, Chris Jericho debut is one of my favorite debuts ever. Like the Y2J promo. Like I just love that. Right. Absolutely love that. I don't know, we got here we go. Real Wrestling was with Ken Walton on World of Sport, Mick McManus. Sorry, Dad, I don't know who they are, mate.
He's talking about the giant
Big Daddy.
Giant haystack, isn't he?
Yeah, the pioneers back in, that was cart days.
Yeah, that was British wrestling. That was, but all right, okay. So,
but me and my dad had a special love for Razor Ramon. I mean, Scott Hall, he was just brilliant. And when he died a couple of years ago, I was gutted, genuinely gutted for him. So shout out to Razor Ramon on that one.
Yeah, he had one of those great. He had one of the big, such a cool catchphrase, like catchphrase about being bad or something like that. And I can't remember what it was, but it was so good.
Oh, what, his Hall of Fame speech?
No, yeah. What was it? What did he say?
Is it good? Bad times don't last, but bad guys do. I was like, man. I listened to that. This sounds so pathetic looking back on it now. But when I was getting ready for my architect's interview to become an architect, I had to do it online because it was during COVID. And I got myself geared up. I listened to like motivational speeches and stuff. And Scott Hall's motivational speech on Hall of Fame, that got me through that interview because it was like, you know what, you've been through so much shit to get where you are now. But then it's like, bang, that's what you do. And at the point you do it. And yeah, that stood there for ages. There's another shout out, British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. Oh, just unbelievable.
He was great.
Unbelievable. His documentary's good, by the way. On I think it's on Peacock. I think it's like WWE biographies, and his biography is brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Okay, well,
he choked on the peanut, didn't he?
Hey, choked. I think
he choked on the peanut.
I don't know, something like that.
I don't know. I think it was.
I'm sure he died.
I don't know. Yeah, he died. I think he died. I think he was 38 when he died.
Yeah, he died.
He's our age.
Choking on a peanut. That's what I think it was. But all right. While we're talking about wrestlers, then since we're talking about wrestlers, who were your favorite wrestlers? Where you're like, this is my person. I want this person to do all of the things.
So I think the original one was like Hulk Hogan. I loved Hulk Hogan when he, obviously before, I suppose our generation. I would say he was the generation before, but as they were bleeding in, but as he was bleeding into our generation of wrestlers, but was Shawn Michaels. I love Shawn Michaels. I mean, he was a high flyer, and he had character. His theme song was fantastic, and he was just like too hot to handle. I loved him so much. He was freaking legend. Loved his long hair. Yeah, loved everything about him, mate. Do you know what was nice about him, right? He wasn't massive, like he was muscly, but he was almost like normal. I suppose normal muscly. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't like a. He
made
Batista was that.
He made Dad cool. Do you know what I mean? Like he was like a cool bad guy. He was like the first kind of like, for me anyway. I can remember being like, do you know what? I like Shawn Michaels, but he's a bad guy. And then it kind of made it easier to like Stone Cold when he was a bad. Like, you know, like kind of like this changing of the way we felt about bad guys, where we were supposed to hate them. And maybe that's part of just when you're growing up as a fan, right? Because you do. I suppose that's like a natural thing. But he was like the first bad guy where I was like, I want Shawn Michaels to win. Like, I'm not supposed to want Shawn Michaels to win. Like he was a storyteller. He could sell. Like, and looking back, I remember thinking like, how the hell is Shawn Michaels kicked out of that? Like, because in those days you felt differently about wrestling, didn't you? Like, you couldn't believe he was kicking out of stuff.
Rob, even when he got thrown into the corner, and he got whipped. Do you remember he used to get whipped and he used to flick over the top of the thing? Yeah. Mate, he used to sell everything so well. And like, he'd get punched, and he was freaking amazing at selling any sort of damage. And then like he'd fly off like the cage. Him and Undertaker's fights, like in the cage matches and stuff, early doors.
I have got matches. We are going to talk about matches.
The ladder match between Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels.
Mate.
Yeah, again.
Well, all-time classic that is. All-time
Yeah.
classic. But Shawn Michaels, though, when he was with the Rockers, he was massive. He was the bigger of the two. And then when he turned, he kind of he went slight. He went more athletic rather than muscular. And that's where he become.
But he's also doing
Shawn
double
Michaels
the work, though, isn't he? He's also doing double the work. When you're a tag team partner, you're doing half the work. And I don't mean that in a critical way, but there's after match, you're outside the ring. You start telling stories over 40 minutes and you're in the ring for 40 minutes. And in those days, matches were longer.
Yeah, they were longer, yeah.
And so he's, that's probably not as surprising as it looks to us when we think, oh, he's got smaller. But who was your favourite wrestler growing up?
Mine, I'll tell you what, I love Triple H. That's just a given. I mean, I always was a Triple H guy, and even now, knowing that, looking back on his creative input all them years ago, what he's talking about now in recent podcasts, but the one wrestler that really stood out to me that I absolutely loved watching was Sean Waltman. And X-Pac, but 1, 2, 3 Kid originally. When he was the 1, 2, 3 Kid, and he was Razor Ramon's little sidekick originally, and then he beat him in like a house show or something, and then that was when 1, 2, 3 Kid come out, and then he left WWF, and then he went to WCW as 6. So that 1, 2, 3 Kid, and obviously he had that 1, 2, 3 at 6, and then it went to 6. So then when he went back to WWF as part of the Degeneration 2.0. Degeneration X 2.0, he became X-Pac, and then I just loved his moves. I loved his athleticism, and I just loved his character because he was never great on the mic, but he was so passionate for it,
Wasn't he the one who's doing a bit with China?
Yeah,
he was. But even now, I had a tweet from him. I tweeted him, and he put a shot up of him being clean. He's happy in his life. He's gone through a bad state and stuff. He's got himself physically well, and I think even to the point they were talking about him coming back for a Royal Rumble appearance, like a special Legends Royal Rumble appearance. And I tweeted, I said, really good that you're looking great. And he actually replied to it, and he said, "Thanks, man, it means a lot." I was like, "No, Sean Waltman just replied to my tweet." I was like over the moon for that. But he loved it. He loved it.
Cool.
Like the fact that he takes time for he's just replied to some kid from Essex, some guy from Essex.
Nearly 40.
Nearly 40. But it's good to think that even though he had such a good impact on me when I was a kid, and that's what I always watched, even all these years down the line, he still had time for the fans, he didn't have to tweet me, but he did. And I love that. I love that. But Sean Waltman, I mean, Triple H, Degeneration X was always great.
DX, everyone loved DX.
See, I was like the other way. I was the other way. I was. I mean, even then, I suppose I was into like my sort of like the darker stuff. So I was always into the Undertaker. Undertaker is. So I've got loads of wrestlers that I love, but the Undertaker is my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
Very closely followed by what started with the Brood, and then became.
I know where you're going.
And then became the rated R superstar. And I'll talk about Edge, mate, as well. But so Undertaker, Edge, but the journey of Edge, and then Mankind, Cactus Jack. Oh, Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
I just love those guys, man. And they were all so different, weren't they? Like, they were all so different. They were like, I mean, I know they're all kind of like a little bit more like on the, or initially were a little bit more on the spoofy side of things. But
he opened a lot of doors for wrestlers, didn't he?
Undertaker is a dead man. Like, all that kind of stuff is what I mean. But they were just such different personalities and different, like, how can you be deadpan for nearly 40 years but have so much charisma, and then you've got like Mankind, Cactus Jack, and then you've got like this gorgeous Edge, like it was just, they're just so different, but they were just, I was just literally completely awestruck by them. couldn't get enough of them. Like the whole stuff with Edge and when he was with Lita, even the Vicky Guerrero stuff, like all of that, and then that return at the Royal Rumble, mate. goosebumps the size of craters. Like,
I wasn't thrilled when he won it though. Like I think he won it the following year, didn't he? Or something. Edge won it the following year.
Did he?
Yeah, I think it was him and Christian in the last 4, and he won it. I think he won it. He had that feud with Randy Orton.
Yeah, but he also got concertoed by. He got stacked by Roman Reigns with Daniel Bryan, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
match.
that's it.
But yeah, so those 3, man, they were it for me.
Who's the all-time best wrestler ever?
All-time best.
All-time best. I'm talking about all generations.
Do you mean who's racked up the most money for that? Because Stone Cold basically kept the 90s going. So you got to think about it like how are you looking at it? Because like I say, John Cena kept wrestling going through the year that no one cares, like the PG years. If it weren't for him, then it wouldn't even, it would be shut down a long time ago. And like I say, Stone Cold kept the 90s going. With The Rock, I suppose, who's up there, and obviously DX and all that saved it in the Monday Night Raws with Stone Cold. It all depends on how you want to put it, isn't it? I mean, if you're talking about just wrestling skills, you got to be talking about people like Eddie Guerrero. Thank you.
Yeah.
You got to talk about them sort of wrestlers, ain't you? You know, them ones who are like proper wrestlers.
Brock Lesnar, another one.
Nah, he ain't a proper wrestler.
I don't think he's the greatest. I don't think he's GOAT category. I do think John Cena is GOAT category. I do think he is.
I don't think he is.
He's not. He's not my favorite, but I do think he's GOAT category.
Nah, he ain't a proper. When you look at me, he ain't a. I don't see him as a proper wrestler. Like Eddie Guerrero, he could wrestle, mate. He would pull moves out, and you think, flipping hell, how's he managed to even do that move? Like he'd be in a weird position and be able to flip him to get out of it. Like his actual wrestling IQ, was ridiculous.
Yeah, but being the GOAT wrestler is more than I think it's more.
Yeah, no. This is what I'm saying. You got to look. Is it more? Are you talking about in the sense of keeping the business going and the baby face and money wise, or are you talking about actual wrestler?
But John Cena can cook on a mic as well. He's one of the best talkers in the history of wrestling. He definitely is, mate. He cooks everyone that gets on the mic with him.
CM Punk's better on the mic, in my opinion. CM Punk's better on the mic.
Yeah, but I said one of the best. I didn't say the best.
Oh yeah, sorry.
The Rock's got to be up there. The Rock's got to be up there as one of the best.
Rock's got to be up there. Yeah, I think
he's got to be a GOAT.
I think is huge.
For me, it's Ric Flair. I don't think it even touches the sides. I think Ric Flair is just the absolute.
In the later years, he was. It was like watching Bruce Forsyth on bloody Strictly Dancing, mate.
His last match at WrestleMania with Shawn Michaels was storytelling.
But again, Shawn Michaels up there again, mate. Shawn Michaels is fantastic, mate.
Mate, most of the matches I've noted down, they've got Shawn Michaels in.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. He is the GOAT. In my opinion, he is the GOAT.
WrestleMania, isn't he?
Huh?
He's known as Mr. WrestleMania.
He is Mr. All right, hang on.
Ric Flair, though, in the 80s and 90s, like when he was at the NWA and then he was with Dusty Rhodes and then all them sort of matches. When you watch the old retro stuff, I know that you've got to be bang up there. How could we not mention this one?
He wasn't a GOAT to me. He
was rubbish on the mic. He was pants on the mic. He could not sell. He couldn't sell. Socks to a person with no socks, mate. He could, mate.
What is it he said to Triple H and Shawn Michaels? He said, "Oh, a couple of queer boys" or something like that. And then Triple H went, "Oh, mate, I'm not queer. I'm definitely not queer."
No,
that's what I'm saying. He could not sell on the mic. He could not do the mic.
Yeah. Do you know what?
Best technically, yeah.
He was excellent technically, but if I wanted technical wrestling, I'd watch wrestling. Like I'd watch.
Wrestling.
When I watch wrestling, I want to watch it like a soap opera. It's EastEnders, mate. It is my EastEnders. It is a soap opera with great storylines that repeat. They happen every 20 years. It's the same shit. It happens again. I don't care. I know what I'm watching and I know what I'm investing in. If I wanted to watch a really great, the excellence of execution, I'd tune into college wrestling or something like that. I want to be entertained. And when you're looking at packages and you're looking at like your Shawn Michaels, your Undertakers, your John Cena's, your Roman Reigns, who will be on that Rushmore. He will be on Rushmore. He is incredible. These people can do
Angle.
all of it. Kurt Angle. These people could do everything, and so could Eddie Guerrero. Like, there are, Taken Too Soon. Owen Hart was about to take off, Taken Too Soon. Like, there was some great talent out there. But when you're watching professional wrestling, there's more. You have to
if you're thinking about like Impact, then Rob, you got like instantly when you think, oh my god, here we go. That Stone Cold Steve Austin, mate, the breaking of the glass.
But he didn't. He wasn't
instantly. You'd go, here he goes. This is it, mate. It's about to hit.
He didn't start off like that. He was stunning Steve Austin with Ted DiBiase.
But they've all got a journey, mate.
The Ringmaster. He only became Stone Cold when he won King of the Ring, and he absolutely trashed Jake the Snake. And he was like, Psalms 3:16 might say blah blah blah. Austin 3:16 just says I kicked your ass. And then all of a sudden, Austin 3:16 was born. Stone Cold was born. That took off. But let's not forget, he failed in WCW. He was breaking out in ECW. Then he got taken to WWE, and then they gave him the Ringmaster, and he had this horrible like backcomb of blonde hair, and it was a
your haircut, Rob.
Like mine.
Rob, you could say that about any wrestler. Every wrestlers don't make it to their.
You said
a lot of them didn't make it to their 40s.
Brock Lesnar broke out. Brock Lesnar was a breakout. Randy Orton was a breakout. They are proper breakouts. Stone Cold was not a breakout. He didn't break out and was like, oh my god, who's this guy? Randy Orton broke out. John Cena had a bit of a breakout when he had that pent up pure aggression or whatever it was, and then he slapped Kurt Angle around the face. But even then, he nearly lost his job. It's only when he started doing the rapping that he took off. Randy Orton was it straight away, wasn't he? Because he split up Bob Holly and Cody Rhodes. Is that right? No, that was Ted DiBiase. What was Randy Orton's entrance? Was he straight in with Legacy?
No, I think he was with his dad, wasn't he? Bob Orton.
Was that his breakout?
When he first started, and then he went into Legacy, and then he went into the Legend Killer, then he went into Evolution, didn't he? Or he went Evolution, then Legend Killer sort of status. But go on, Rob, talk about the matches that you want to the 3 matches that you want to talk about.
I wasn't going to talk about. Well, I mean, we can talk about matches or we can talk about moments, because I feel like we can talk about there's moments where we can talk about WrestleMania and be like, that was one of the best.
I think we need to talk about events as well before we go into WrestleMania, because I don't care what anyone else says, that ECW versus WWE is the best DVD I've got out of all my DVDs. That is the best event I've ever watched. When Rob Van Dam beats, I think it's John Cena at the end, and then he gets
ECW One Night Stand. I think that's
it. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I thought you said V's. I thought you were talking about.
Oh, sorry. ECW One Night Stand. That is the best 2 or 3 hours of wrestling ever.
That's the one when Edge pins Tommy Dreamer's wife, but he humps her as the referee cuts in.
yeah. And when it's in a stadium, which is like, it's almost like being in Hammersmith Apollo. It can't be more than like 2,000 people in it, and it's like they're standing, they're throwing beer in the crowd. There's like phony John Cena's shirt back at him and stuff, mate. It was absolutely epic.
Yeah,
it was like pure hatred. Have you ever seen that, Adam?
Sorry, mate. Say that again. My dad's just spammed me with all these
ECW One Night Stand
things. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen
mate,
that.
That is fantastic.
Cal, name me one, your favourite WrestleMania match.
Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels all day long.
The first one or the second one?
Huh?
No, the first one or the second one? Because there's 2. The last one was the streak and the retirement match, wasn't it? Is that right? I think, yeah.
First one, when they were younger.
It's only a year difference, wasn't it? So there's only a year in between the 2 fights, I think. But one was just like
the first one is when they both launch off the top, and then I think they launch off the top about 3 or 4 times. I think it's the first one. It's like unreal. I know he power slams him, doesn't he? He suplexes him through the ring, through the cage at the top. and he falls through.
I don't think the first one was a cage match, was it? No, there's no cage.
There's one where there's a cage match. Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker cage match. I'm sure that's a WrestleMania one.
That was. I think that was a cage match. I think that was. Yeah. Or was that Triple H and Undertaker?
Triple H,
no, Shawn Michaels.
Triple H and Undertaker was a cage match, and Shawn Michaels was a special guest referee.
Yeah.
No. But Undertaker, Shawn Michaels had 2 matches at WrestleMania, and he beat him the first time, and then he beat him.
Cal's right. I think Cal's right.
There is one. I'm sure there's one where there's a cage match.
Okay. I'm not sure.
Well, I know if I'm not right.
There's one with Triple H. The Triple H and Undertaker match was a cage match. Definitely. And Shawn Michaels was a special guest referee. But that's your favourite, yes? So Shawn Michaels Undertaker. Shawn Michaels Undertaker.
If that is,
I don't know if there's any better. I don't know if there is any better. What do you reckon, Ad?
Part of me
the thing is, I don't think you can have a WrestleMania without having Undertaker in it. One, because of the streak and the history. Yeah. But basically, especially in the early 90s, every fight Undertaker was in WrestleMania was an epic fight. Was ridiculous. Huh. So if anyone can come out with a fight that's better than without Undertaker in it, I'd be shocked.
2001, there was Rock and Stone Cold. There was also the TLC match, wasn't there? That TLC match, the first TLC match, the one where I think that's the one where Edge spears Jeff Hardy off the ladder and Jeff Hardy's hanging in the air.
Yeah.
Actually, I do remember that one. I do remember that as one, actually.
They were pretty cool matches. I think it was the Hardys, Dudleys, and...
Dudleys, yeah. It was a three-way, wasn't it?
Edge and Christian, yeah.
Those TLC's matches were great. But the Rock and Stone Cold in 2001 was pretty good.
Yeah. What's the heel turn of Stone Cold?
That's when he joined
Vince McMahon.
Was that later? Or that wasn't 2001.
I think that might have been the first one, wasn't it?
I don't know. I can't remember, but all I remember is the build up to one of them had the best build up, and it had that Limp Bizkit song.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
More fight, and they're like, it's just the best like video package they ever put together for like a fight, and the music was perfect. It was so good. But I got a couple of recent ones as well. I really enjoyed the cinematic kind of Firefly Funhouse match with John Cena and Bray Wyatt. Special shout out.
Yeah, it was COVID times, wasn't it? Yeah.
Another one taken too soon.
He was, because I think he had potential to be incredible.
Yeah, he got the torch passed to him, didn't he?
He did.
He got the torch. Yeah, Undertaker went up and passed the torch to him in the ring, didn't he? And then
he died.
Such a shame. Such a sad situation. That
I loved him. I thought he was just everything. But basically everything about the type of wrestling that I like. He's got the charisma, the stories, just the random stories,
and he could sell. Oh my god, could he sell?
Great finishing move, like the Sister Abigail whole thing. But actually, on cinema stories, I really enjoyed Undertaker's last fight at WrestleMania as well. The one when he took on the Bullet Club. When he took on AJ and
not the Bullet Club, not the Bullet.
No, I know.
the OC.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry. But that was fun. The whole you weren't getting the Undertaker, you were getting a bit of the Undertaker, you were getting a bit of the American Badass, and a little bit of Mark Calloway. It was cool. But yeah, I did enjoy Cody Rhodes and Reigns last year. That was a fun fight. It was fun.
I thought that was good.
I really hope Stone Cold comes this year. I really hope.
As I was saying earlier, I think we're going to get the shift. I think you're going to get the shifting moment where one goes in as a babyface, one goes in as a heel. John Cena the heel, Cody Rhodes the babyface, and I could just like Bret Hart and Stone Cold was. Bret Hart was the babyface, Stone Cold was the heel, and then throughout the match, because Bret Hart got Stone Cold in a sharpshooter, but he never tapped out.
That's right.
He fainted, didn't he? And then that point there, because Bret Hart could have just let go and let him get on with it, but because he continued, he became the heel, and Stone Cold became the babyface. And I can see Cody and John Cena doing that. I think there's going to be some transition and I think Cody's going to be the heel after WrestleMania.
I just don't see them. I don't see them flipping their
I don't think Cena's a good heel. I think he's been quite poor since the turn. Yeah, I can see that kind of happening.
I don't think they will. I just don't think they're going to turn their biggest babyface. I just don't see it right now. If they didn't, I just can't see it. I just can't see it. But I mean, I'm open to anything. Like if it's entertaining, I mean, I'm going to be entertained regardless. But yeah. I just don't see it.
I think the Daniel Bryan v Orton v Batista triple threat, the Yes movement when he won that title.
I had that down. Daniel Bryan v The Authority. That was one of my moments.
But I think one of the most iconic WrestleMania moments for me would be the Brock Lesnar v Roman Reigns match
when Seth
Rollins comes in and cashes in. I watched that the other day, and that to me it was just like, oh my god, and it happened so quickly, and then he's actually won it.
And that was just after probably the most iconic RKO of all time.
Yes.
When he flips him off his neck and gives him an RKO.
Yeah.
Incredible. And that was another WrestleMania moment, wasn't it?
So guys, do you want to play a little? Do you want to roll back the months or say the years? Do you want to roll back the months and play a bit of Horton v Horton?
Yes, I do. But before we do, can I just special mention to when The Rock and Hogan had their match?
Oh yeah, that's a great match. Even Stone Cold and Scott Hall. Well, that was a good match as well, wasn't it?
It's the way they stand in the ring and they look from left to right. Oh, Cal, do you remember?
It's iconic, isn't it?
It is, and they were. There's some stories about this that The Rock was saying was that his dad, so Rocky Johnson, was in the crowd, and because they were very different. Hulk Hogan just went out there and felt it, and Rock used to plan his matches because that was like the new way of doing things. But Hogan was old school, so he just did what was feeling good in the ring. And apparently his dad was shouting at him, going, Dwayne, listen to Hogan. Dwayne, listen to Hogan, so they could like have the match. And apparently Rock was getting booed, and he was meant to be the baby face. And and Hogan was like, do you want me to do what I need to do to get you over, kind of thing? And Rock credits Hogan for really putting Rock over, because he was basically getting booed out of the stadium because everyone wanted Hogan to be the man still. You know, it was very nostalgic and incredible, but basically Hogan had to turn it up as this kind of this performer to really, and he really grateful to Hogan for that.
And it was he couldn't fight it, could he? Because he went in as the Hollywood Hulk Hogan, but he ended up coming out Hulkamania Hogan, didn't he?
So because he kind of stayed in the ring after The Rock left, didn't he? And he kind of got his like, well, I think that's what happened, something like that. And they both sort of left.
Yeah.
Better.
No, he's not. Anyway, let's wrap this episode up of episode 1. For those that want to watch episode 2, go straight onto our YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify, follow us on YouTube, like, subscribe. It really helps the algorithm. And we'll see you in about 5 minutes' time as we talk about football. See you soon.
On this day, I see